Any new grower, you want to get a successful harvest, I have the best method for you. Do the finger test, okay? And yes, you're gonna take your finger, you're gonna... Yeah, I gotta start vetting these pictures, because what the hell? Okay, y'all, welcome back to yet another episode of the Plug Talk Show, where you can help me help you make your garden grow, all right? But before everything, guys, make sure to hit that subscribe, hit that notification bell, drop a like and a comment, man. Help me, help you, help me, man. Let's really get straight to it. Yeah, guys, YouTube has me live editing within the first minute of these videos because YouTube has been very nice to me. So before we get started with this video, you guys know the promo screen. If you want your promotion here, your ad, holla at me in the Gmail, holla at me on my Instagram. Any type of video playing in the background, no sound though, holla at me. We'll have it there in the background, logos, it would be there. But for now, Plug Talk Show is brought to you by none other than Plug Talk 101. Now that we got that out the way, this Tuesday coming up in the next few days, on the 29th, we will be doing our giveaway. The first thing we're giving away is none other than one of the two Mars Hydro SP3000s, so make sure you stay tuned for that. In order to win this prize, it's gonna be very simple. All you have to do is just make sure you are a follower to my Instagram, send me a screenshot that you are a subscriber and with the notification bell, and just let me know in that message that you want to win the Mars Hydro SP3000 and why. From that list, we'll do a random name generator or something, and we will reveal the winner on Tuesday. Okay, so let's just get to this video. Today, we'll be talking about watering methods and watering systems, how to water your cannabis. So what you see here is probably the two most abundant or popular ways to water plants amongst home growers. It's either top watering or something like this, a little bit of automation, RDWC or DWC. When dealing with cannabis, there's actually a science. Yes, there's a science to prove what is the optimal soil moisture. And we'll get into the science shortly, and I'll keep it to one slide because I don't want to overwhelm anybody here. But just so you know, you have moist, wet, and dry in no particular order, okay? So this right here is wet. Can you grow cannabis in this? Of course you can. Will it be optimal? Of course not, all right? You more than likely will have overwatered plant and a severely stunted growth. This is really more of what you want. Not even this whole picture here, but really just this area. That's really what you want to grow your cannabis. And we'll be talking about both of these situations here and how to prevent this from happening, getting anaerobic soil, because it's too saturated with water and there's not enough oxygen, okay? You guys can see we have some measurements here at the bottom. We're really not gonna tap into the moisture levels or the units here because I don't wanna overwhelm people, but really this picture here is just for a visual, okay? So if you're in soil, as you guys can see here, this is too much moisture. This is 100% moisture. This is ideal. You need some oxygen. That's the purpose of the pumice here, is to aerate your soil, introduce some oxygen pockets, and this is no moisture. You can only see moisture around the pumice and you already are getting a wilt. Now, when we get into overwatered and underwatered, there are key differences that you should be looking for as a new grower or even a slightly experienced to an experienced grower, okay? There are two ways to tell because both plants will wilt or droop, for lack of better terms, and we're gonna tap right into it, all right? What is the key difference between an underwatered plant and an overwatered plant? It's very simple, and this is how I go rule of thumb, okay? So even though both plants has a droop, what you actually want to be looking for is the texture of the leaves. Yo, Uncle Joe. Well, I'm not really an uncle yet, right? I'm under 35. Yo, big bro Joe, Farmer Joe, what do you mean? So when you have an underwatered plant, your leaves will become crispy. Overwatered plant, they will still droop, right? Technically, one is drooping and one is wilting. I'm not gonna get into that politics right now. But with overwatered plants, what you will see is the major giveaway. You have moisture in their leaves. They are drooping, but they retain their moisture, their texture. They're not crispy. But the tall tale sign is right here, okay? What you see here, it looks like a nutrient deficiency. this isn't cannabis, but it looks like it's actually beginning to be a potassium deficiency here. And why are you seeing a nutrient deficiency? You're having a lockout, okay? It could be because of pH, salt contents, but what's happening here is all of this water is throwing everything out of whack in your media, and it's causing a lockout. So how can you tell? For me, the easiest way to tell is drooping leaves that still remain its texture, like it's moist, like there's life, but you see a deficiency, compared to drooping or technically wilting leaves that is a little crunchy and there's no more moisture. That's how you could tell. Underwatering is easy to fix. You just gotta add water, right? We're gonna get more into that, but keep in mind, when you add water to an underwatered plant, you're more than likely gonna get a toxicity. And why? Think of salt water in a cup. You go to the beach, you get some water in a cup, you let that bitch evaporate, what's left is the salt. You add water to that salt, it's even more saltier than before, okay? So that's what happens. All the water is evaporated and all that's left is the salt contents in the soil. Next time you water, it's gonna be more salty. Keep that in mind, and you will have a toxicity, so keep that in mind. Overwatering is a little bit harder to deal with. It's a little bit more involved, and that's only because you have to let it dry out. And the number one mistake that most people do when they see a overwatered plant, they don't think it's overwatering. They think that, oh, it's drooping out of a pH lockout, you feed. Absolutely do not feed an overwatered plant. I have to say that again. Do not feed an overwatered plant by any means necessary. You will only further the problem. Overwatering will easily stunt your growth more than underwatering. Trust me, I know I'm going through it right now. As a side note, spoiler alert, I built my own DIY humidifier system, which is beautiful, but I put the clones right underneath the vent where all the humidity is coming, and the humidity, because it is 100% humidity that comes out of that vent in increments, is overwatering the plant. So I just had to move them back. One of them bounced back already, one of them is still going through a funk, and it actually looks like this. Their leaves are drooping and it's showing a deficiency, okay? Don't feed this plant. Put it in a drier climate, let it bounce back, let the leaves poke that thing up, girl, and you'll be good. An easy way to tell if your soil is properly at its correct moisture level, and again, we'll get to the science, trust me, chat, we're gonna get to the science behind it. It's not bro science. Is a squeeze test, all right? Trying to get a handful of soil in a 5-gallon pot with a big plant in there is not really feasible, because you could fuck around and take up some roots. In a 1-gallon pot, 3-gallon pot, if there's a plant in there, there's a better method to do this. But if you're in a bed and you have a plant in there in a big bed, yes, you could easily do a squeeze test. Or if you have a 5-gallon pot and you're about to transplant, do the squeeze test, okay? And what it is very simple. You just get a handful of soil, like you see here, and you squeeze it. Now, if the water is just continuously flowing out of your hands or continuously dripping, you overwater. If the soil holds its shape like a goddamn turd, you overwatered. What you're looking for actually is something like this. Crumbly soil, but not to the point where it's right? You want some loose soil, but you also want it to hold its form, but not, like squeezed, if that makes any sense, like this, okay? This is overwatered. If you do a squeeze test and you see this, let that bitch dry out before you put a plant in it. Trust me, this is how you get to seamless transplants. So speaking of the science, what is a good soil moisture percentage, right? Now, the rule of thumb, shout out to Jeremy at Builder Soil, is 1/3, okay? So if you have a pot that's 10 gallons, feed it 3 gallons of water. If your pot is 9 gallons, if you want like an even number, it's 3 gallons. 5-gallon container, 1.5 gallon of water. 3-gallon container, 1 gallon of water. There are 3 reasons why growers fail. In no particular order, one reason is lighting, right? You either have too much or not enough at all.
It's not enough.
The second reason is watering, right? You're either watering too much or not enough at all.
It's not
and
enough.
the third reason is your environment. 1/3 water every day in somewhere like New York, Maine, Canada, Detroit, that actually might be optimal. Hey, you might need to feed twice, depending on what your medium is, right? Cocoa coir, you might gotta do 1/3 twice. If you live down south, you might wanna do 1/3 watering every other day. Just see how your plant reacts. But 1/3 watering is the key. And like I said, it's not bro science. We have the facts. The water recommendation for cannabis is 25% to 33%. So like I alluded to earlier, we do have a method where if you're in a smaller pot and you can't get a handful of soil, like a 5 gallon and below, do the finger test, okay? And yes, you're gonna take your finger, you're gonna... Yeah, I gotta start vetting these pictures, because what the hell? Why in God's name are you taking your finger, you're putting it inside something that's making a smiley face, and it comes out wet? What kind of obscene, profane shit? Get the shit off my screen. No comment, right? So let's do it with this picture. This is actually a better picture here. You're gonna stick your finger in the pot. You really wanna go up to 1 to 2 knuckles, probably the second knuckle, because you wanna get into the 2 inches first of that top soil, right? And if you put your finger in the pot and it comes out bone dry, and there's not even any soil sticking to your finger, water that bitch. If you stick your finger in the pot and soil is sticking to your finger because of the moisture level, don't water. It's that simple, right? Clean fingers means water. Dirty finger, or if your finger comes out moist or wet and the soil sticking to it, don't water. That's the finger test. That is something that you could do in smaller containers, and I've done it myself many times, because that top ½ inch layer of the soil will definitely dry out first. And if you just do an eye test and it looks dry and you water, fuck around and overwater your plant. Keep track, okay? Keep track. If you gotta write notes on how often you water, and then you'll be able to become a pro at watering, which will guarantee you success when you grow. Let's get right into pumice and perlite. And the reason why we have this here, even though this picture is blurry, is because aeration will do you a big solid, okay? But the main difference between the two is one is bigger, one is smaller. It's really that simple, right? One is easier to ship, one is a lot heavier and harder to ship, right? Now, why would you use one versus the other? I'll break it down very simple for any newcomer, or maybe people don't even know about pumice, which you should. How many times have you guys seen growers on YouTube? They hit that water out of a watering can or a bucket, all the pumice floats to the top. Congratulations, you played yourself, okay? Why do I say that? Because the pumice is not supposed to sit on top of the soil unless you have, let's say, a fungus gnat situation. The pumice is supposed to be in the soil, aerating the soil, preventing it from clumping up and holding its shape. It's supposed to aerate your soil. This won't float to the top. It's highly unlikely that pumice is gonna float to the top and literally not stay lodged in the soil. Now, why would I use pumice? For better aeration and even drainage. And why would I use perlite? Seedlings, clones, germinations. Why? Imagine this big old pumice rock on top of your germination hole. That seed ain't punching through. Now, if you have pumice that's light and fluffy on top of where you germinated or where you planted your seed, sown your seed, if you understand husbandry, right? It will break through that, okay? And I'm pretty sure the next slide goes through it. Here's a great picture again of underwatered versus overwatered. And the reason why I'm showing you guys so many of these pictures is because a lot of people don't know the difference. And I don't even mean like between the two. It's really between overwatering and a nutrient deficiency, right? This will fuck up even the most experienced growers if they're not really privy and they're not really a stewardess to your plant, right? So underwater, like I told you, this is actually a great representation, because sometimes your leaves won't turn yellow, they'll just turn brown. It will go through necrosis. Your plant will get crispy. If you have no moisture on your skin, you scratch yourself, it's dry, right? Sidebar. One of the commenters on one of my videos said, stop doing that, I'm gonna start a fire because I was ashy. Obviously the prongs, the insert is the male. The hole is the female, right? Come on, guys. Right, I know, I be working with my hands, I'm sorry. But yes, when you're ashy, you're dry, there's no moisture, just like this plant, right? This leaf, it's dry, it gets crumbly, underwatered. Just add some water. Now, overwatered will fuck you up because you're looking at this, and if you're experienced enough, you're gonna say, hey, this is magnesium deficiency. And you can tell by the color of the veins, for lack of better terms, right? The veins are losing their color. And you'll say, hey, nitrogen deficiency, because it's causing yellowing, right? But indeed, what's happening is you overwatered, you threw everything out of whack in your media here, and now you have a lockout. Do not feed a plant that's drooping and showing deficiencies, but it's not dry. If your plant is drooping and it's crispy and it's dry and it's wilting, feed the bitch. If your plant leaves are just drooping and it's showing deficiencies, do a finger test, do a squeeze test. Don't feed. Let that bitch air out. I have to say 1,000 times. Now, this is the main way people water. I highly recommend to any new grower, you should be bottom watering 75% of the times and top watering 25% of the times. In my world, I bottom water 95% of the times, top water only when I'm top dressing, right, to glue everything in. Now, there are pros and cons to both. The pros are very simple. If you have an underwatered plant, don't bottom water. Do not bottom water an underwater plant. It will take too long for the wicking action. Top water it, right? When you top water a plant, gravity helps you. You're not doing wicking motion, gravity helps you, and it basically will hydrate the plant a lot faster. Now, the cons to doing something like this is it's easier to overwater, and it's easier to have dry pockets, right? Because water goes in the path of least resistance. So if you have a major air pocket right here, let's say, and you water your plant and the water seeps on top, it's gonna go in the path of least resistance and it's gonna travel down here, leaving massive air pockets in this area here, okay? An alternative is bottom watering. Now, bottom watering is for healthy plants. By all means, underwater plant, top water that bitch, but if you already have a healthy plant and you wanna really find out what's the best way to water, I strongly recommend bottom watering. Why? It just takes the guessing out the game, right? It takes the guessing out the game. What do I mean? When your reservoir is empty, fill it back up. That simple. When the reservoir is empty, fill it back up. You don't have to guess. Now, this is going to really tie into the foolproof way I have for any new grower, right? Any new grower, you want to get a successful harvest, I have the best method for you. Let's get a better picture. This is ideal, right? You can see the water. This is a reservoir. The next time this guy is going to water is when this is empty. And you can even see it looks like he got a little worm right there. And this is actually going to lead into our next foolproof way for newbies. Earthbox. Where's the applause? Okay. Now, an Earthbox, the reason why an Earthbox works best for new growers, it literally takes all guessing out the game. This is actually a beautiful picture, okay? And we're giving away 2 Earthbox Juniors and 1 Earthbox. So if you're a new grower, you want this more than anything else. Why? The mulch cover here, it stops pests, right? And it keeps all the moisture locked in your medium. And whenever it wants fresh water to drink, it drinks. Why is this so optimal for new growers? When your reservoir is empty, fill it up. If you even want to be more professional, when your reservoir is empty, wait a day, fill it up. Fail-proof watering in an Earthbox. If you have trouble watering, this is what you need, and it's a workhorse, okay? Earthbox is a workhorse. Beautiful picture here. You can even see it looks like they mounded. And what do I mean by that? So an Earthbox could only hold about 7 gallons of soil. Okay? But what makes it a workhorse is that you could keep mounding like a sandcastle on top. As long as your mulch cover could cover it, you're good to go. And you could fit about an extra 3 gallons before, you know, your mulch cover will get a little expanded. You see the plants here, you see the water running off. It has a 3-gallon reservoir at the bottom. It's fail-proof. Just look in this watering tube. When you see the bottom, water that bitch. It's really that simple. It's really so simple. And yes, we're giving away an Earthbox and 2 Earthbox Juniors. 7.5 gallons compared to 4.5 gallons. 3-gallon reservoir compared to a 1-gallon reservoir. Fail-proof way of growing. I highly recommend it to anybody that's having trouble watering. So this picture is a little bit more involved when you really take a deep dive, because you see they're using a sprayer, which is the best way to top water. Why is a sprayer the best way to top water? Because you're adding air. Air to soil is good, right? Obviously, in increments and ratios, right? Everything has a balance, a just balance, if you understand. So when you add air to your water supply, oxygenated water is ideal. That's why if you're in RDWC, you use air stone to oxygenate your water. Your roots love it and your water lasts longer. Now we're gonna tap into another watering method, which is RDWC, DWC, and ebb and flow systems. We're not gonna break it down in depth because again, I'm expecting this is more for beginners that are watching this video. RDWC, if you could imagine, the roots are inside your water and your nutrient mix, and you have an air stone providing oxygen to the water. Why this is more for seasoned and more professional or advanced growers is because soil, cocoa coir, peat moss acts as a buffer. What do I mean? Let's say you make your nutrient mix too hot and it's too much salt. The soil will absorb most of that salt before it hits your roots. Now, let's say you fuck around in this system and you make your shit too hot. Your roots is getting direct contact with the goddamn mixture you made, which means you could kill a plant in less than a day in a system like this, for real. Compared to soil, you have time to flush it out, right? As they say in the world, it applies here, high risk, high reward. These systems are notoriously known to give you a much better yield. I mean, just look at that root mass, right? Compared to conventional ways of growing. This is the best way in my eyes. You have a reservoir and it bottom waters. And when this gets dry, there's a buoy here, it automatically waters, right? Takes the guessing out of the game. It's more expensive, but it's way easier to grow and you get excellent results by automated bottom watering. Okay, and this is gonna be one of the last methods here, a blue mat irrigation kit with some carrots. Pretty simple. You stick these in the ground, the water disperses from here. You could toggle the water pressure or how much water you want dispersed from up here. I've never used it. People swear by it. So you know what I mean? I'm just not experienced, so I don't want to talk too much about it, right? Another example here, you got your water line, your carrot is in the soil down here, and the water is being dispersed down here, keeping everything wet. Now, some containers might need 2 carrots, some containers might need 1 carrot. You have to dial that in. So this is the last method that we're gonna go into, drip irrigation. If you could imagine, like those backyard systems you have that go, right? You basically, it's not spraying anything, but it's dripping water at these stations here, and it's literally just a continuous drip. You usually have some type of sensor in the soil that tells it when it's dry, like some type of meter that measures the tension, the grab of the soil, for lack of better terms, and then it will turn it on. Or I've seen people even do something like this and just poke holes through the goddamn line, and they probably water, like, let's say 4 times a day for 15 minutes, right? And you know what I mean? You could get as involved as you want with a system like this. I wouldn't tell a new grower to do this. They should understand the general concepts of watering and moisture levels first, but it's there. And that basically wraps up this video, okay? So we went through a lot today. We went through overwatered, underwatered, different grow system, and much more, I think. So if you like these type of videos and you actually hung in this long and you wanna win that SP3000, I got a little bonus for you, okay? I will enter your submission twice if you do this, right? Send me a screenshot of this screen. Send me a screenshot on Instagram of this screen and prove to me that you are a subscriber and a follower. You get double submission. Don't type it in the comments, but if you do that for me, hey man, I reward those that fuck with me. And yeah man, we're gonna end it here. If you have anything that you want me to talk about, or if you want me to go more in depth into drip irrigation or different irrigation systems, automated watering, let me know. Holla at me, we'll do it. But we're gonna wrap it up here. And you don't get it. You still don't get it, do you? Nah, you don't get it. Your place, I got weed in safes, I got weed in states, I got weed in states, I got weed in vapes, I got weed in case, I got weed in closets, gotta close the drapes. This that plug talk, not no plug walk. You could Google me, that's plug talk. Like 101, this how the plug walk. Kanye shrug walk, you ain't want talk, who to call,
been growing like since a weight talk, a long weight talk. My niggas know what is bait talk, we all late talk, who to call, you know who to call, my niggas know who to call.